This is my story about how I beat high blood pressure. I had been on blood pressure medication for a few years. I had pretty much just accepted the fact that I was going to be on blood pressure medication for the rest of my life. Then I went to a routine physical. I had blood work done before I went, and my doctor told me that my triglycerides were through the roof. I hadn't changed my diet. I didn't know why that might be happening. She prescribed a medication to lower my triglycerides, and within 1 or 2 days, I had a very, very bad effect. It was so bad I had constipation. It's kind of embarrassing, but I had constipation for a day and a half. It was so bad that I had to call in sick to work. That was pretty much it for me. I decided, you know what, I need to do some research and see what I can do myself. And while doing that research, I found that there are certain blood pressure medications that will raise your triglycerides. And the medication that I was on just happened to be one of them. So I did more research, looking for plants that I might be growing in my food forest that will naturally lower triglycerides and blood pressure. I found quite a few of them. Two in particular are Keto and pretty much any kind of hibiscus. So I started making hibiscus tea out of roselle hibiscus and hibiscus radiatus, and started eating Keto, both the berries and the leaves. Not a lot of Keto, just as I'm strolling through the food forest, a few leaves, a few berries. And I found that the Keto would lower my blood pressure pretty much almost immediately, the same day. And the hibiscus tea would be the next day. For a day or two, my blood pressure would be lower. And it was at that point that I decided, you know what? I need to do some more research and see what I can do to just completely get off this medication. While doing that research, I came across ketogenic diet and intermittent fasting. Those two things combined will heal a lot of things, and add in some natural, wholesome Keto and hibiscus tea. That sounded like a winner to me. So I decided to start the ketogenic diet. Basically, you're cutting not all carbs, but most carbs out of your diet. It's not easy. I'm kind of a big spaghetti guy. I really like my spaghetti, but that's a lot of carbs, especially when you eat like a whole pan, like I do. It's spiking your insulin, spiking your glucose levels. You get insulin resistance, meaning you have too much insulin in your body, so your body is not using it. Your glucose will never go down, or is not going to go down easily. After about 3 weeks of being on the keto diet and intermittent fasting, I noticed a huge improvement. I was using the 16-8 method of intermittent fasting, which is you fast for 16 hours, and when you eat, you only eat within an 8-hour window. Basically, I would eat from about 12 to 8. That's the only time I would eat, and I would fast the rest of the time. So after about 3 weeks, I had lost 10 pounds. My blood pressure was consistently in the 110s or 120s. Sometimes it was so low I thought I was going to pass out. I decided to wean myself off of the blood pressure medication, and my blood pressure stabilized a little bit, between 110, 120, sometimes 130, occasionally a spike up to 140, but all very normal. And this is without blood pressure medication, without the blood pressure medication that was causing my triglycerides to go up. So I stayed on that diet for about 3 months, adding hibiscus tea and Keto and other natural things from the food forest into my diet. During that 3 months, I lost almost 30 pounds. I went from 220 pounds to 190 pounds. 190 is a good weight for me. And I haven't felt healthier in a long time, since my 30s. After that 3-month period of being on the diet, I decided to do some experimentation and put some of the carbs, the sugars and starches back into my diet to see if I could find maybe there was one specific thing that was causing the high blood pressure. And I found what it was. Anything related to wheat, bread, spaghetti, anything with wheat in it would spike my blood pressure for days, 140 to 150, just like that. So I keep wheat out of my diet as much as possible. I treat wheat as somewhat of a treat. If I'm going to have spaghetti or pizza or even bread, I do it on the weekend. It's a treat. And that's how I live. It's much better than taking medication for the rest of my life. I'm off blood pressure medication. I don't plan on going back. I might not even go back to the doctor. So just to summarize, Keto for an almost instant decrease in blood pressure, hibiscus tea for a day or two relief, keto diet, low starches, low sugars, low carbs. Mix that with intermittent fasting. There's a good chance that that will work for you too. All right, out.